Hello and thank you for coming to my video today, guys. I really appreciate it. This is my normal weekly recap video where I tell you guys all the information that you've missed in the past week in Cardano so you guys can stay up to date without having to look at a million different resources. But this is going to be pretty summit themed, to say the least. We're going to be going over a lot of things from the summit, but also a couple things that happened outside the summit. And those things from the summit are a lot of cool things that I'm really excited to bring to you guys today, but I'm also going to include my opinion on some of the stuff that was brought up from the summit. So it's going to be a little recap, review, weekly recap, the usual stuff. But some of the things we're going to be talking about today is the Voltaire incentivized testnet, Coinbase, and what that actually means. We're also going to be talking about the Cfund. We're going to be talking about Atala Prism, and so much more. But firstly, let's hear a word from our sponsors. McDonald's Chicken Mac Nuggets. Buy Chicken Mac Nuggets today. 10-piece, $3.50. Three more quick things before we jump into the video. If you guys want to support me and my channel, everything that you need to know is in the link down below. There's two links there. One is to download the Brave browser. It's really cool. It blocks all ads for you. All the Google ads actually have trackers in them that get your IP address and sell your location data to these people. So by using this, you actually get paid in cryptocurrency, and you can use this cryptocurrency to either hodl or send to content creators. I really think this is a cool app. I use it every day. I've been using it for a year or two now, and it's the way to go. The other thing that you can download down below is Libri. Libri is a decentralized YouTube. It's pretty cool. Once you put your video there, it stays up forever. Once you guys click that link, you'll be rewarded some of their cryptocurrency, and then you'll be able to follow my channel. All my videos get posted on there a day later. And then I'm actually not sponsored by McDonald's. That was just a JonTron meme. If anyone got that, make sure you comment down below. But let's jump into the actual video now, guys.
Focuses on making sure that we're included in that conversation. Second, we have the unique advantage that we have all these functional programmers who haven't really been able to do things in a nice way on Ethereum, EOS, or other platforms because they want to write code in Haskell. They want to write code with a functional paradigm. This is where we're going to excel. The things that we've built for Plutus and Marlowe are particularly appealing and useful to them, and it allows them to leverage decades of experience and knowledge from some of the best developers in the world to come and build great DeFi experiences and come and build great dApps. Now, the problem is, though, that you have to have the right incentives for people to do that. So we talked a lot and we looked at history, and I remember something that George Lucas said: history doesn't repeat itself, it rhymes. And in 2007, Steve Jobs had the exact same problem that we have. You have a dominant platform. In his case, it was Windows. And he was creating a new platform, the iPhone, and he wanted to incentivize developers to do something in that platform. So there was a strong argument to do so because there were things that you could do with the iPhone that you could not do with the normal desktop experience. And so the use and utility and experiences were quite revolutionary, but they still needed to give people some funds to take the risk to build on that system. So announcing today, we're partnering with Wave Financial, and IO Global is setting up a $10 million fund on our side, and they're going to match it over time. So $20 million in total AUM, specifically to be there for developers who want to build DeFi and dApps. Steve Jobs worked with John Doerr for his fund for the iPhone. They called it the iFund. And so as an homage to them, we're going to call this the Cfund. And if you guys want to participate, we're already accepting proposals. We set up an email address. If you go to invest@iohk.io and send us an email, send your proposal. We'll get back to you in a few days, probably a week or two. We're a little busy with the summit. And we'll be setting up a dedicated website throughout the month of July on the iohk.io domain about the Cfund. But basically, its purpose is to take people at the $250,000 to $500,000 range and help us fund and build out a great ecosystem of DeFi applications and a great ecosystem of developers. We already have some great partners, and you'll see some of them today and tomorrow at the summit. People like Beef Chain, for example, and we have some in the security token side and so forth that we've been working with. And as we get closer to the unveiling of Goguen and we start pushing things to the testnet, those will be, of course, announced. but we felt it was really important that we open it up to the community as a whole, not just ours, but the entire blockchain space and those outside of the space who have good ideas that can be funded at the $250,000 to $500,000 level, specifically to help get them where they need to go.
That was actually one of the most important announcements for me. I think that's awesome. The fact that IOHK is teaming up with another company called Wave Financial and both putting down $10 million a piece, so a total of $20 million to support developers in this risky system. Because you got to think about from the perspective of a developer, and that's why it was so good that he mentioned Apple doing this with the iPhone, because it was the same thing back then. If you wanted to build something on the iPhone and you don't know that how many people are going to buy this, how many users there are going to be initially, it's a really risky thing to take all of your time and all of your money and put this into a project that you don't even know if there's going to be users. So by IOHK providing developer support, them providing insights, and them just also providing the funding, this is going to be really good for the space, especially initially. It's going to build the foundation for Cardano and for dApps. So it's going to allow people to look at this and say, oh, people have taken this risk, and build apps on top of that once the funding is over. And then also, coming up later, we're going to see the decentralized fund, where future developers besides the Cfund are going to get more funding. But let's go to that now.
Diligently for months and months and months, taking that original ITN code base with a project called Project Catalyst, and they've been slowly transforming it into a voting framework specifically for Cardano. And not only did they do that, they built a cell phone app, which will be demoed soon here at the summit. And in a very short period of time, here in July, we partnered with a great firm called Submittable. People will begin having the ability to submit ballots, proposals, requests for funding. So I guess my one more thing is that we launched the Cfund, but I really would like to get to the dCfund, the decentralized Cardano fund. And starting from July, when you submit your ballot, you'll be able to start talking to the community. The community will begin to be able to establish priorities, and we're building voting systems for this. And starting in August, those systems will launch. And all those ITN rewards that roll over, in addition to that, 100 million ADA, which is approximately worth about $10 million, will roll over as well and be available to the community in tranches. So you'll be able to submit ballots come July, and through community participation and voting with our cell phone app, and as well as desktop experience that's coming in later funds, the community will be able to prioritize and then approve ballots. So we don't have just one, but actually we now have two funds available. One controlled by our global. We're putting our own money in, $10 million on our side, matched by another 10, managed by some great industry veterans, and the other curated and controlled by you, the community as a whole. It's been a very difficult road to get us to that point, and that was really one of the reasons why we thought it would be an interesting thing to continue the ITN, because we could repurpose the existing decentralized network specifically to run these governance components. But that's okay, because we actually originally planned to do it in a federated capacity, similar to how we launched Cardano with Byron, and then eventually wire it on to Cardano as a captive sidechain, honoring that SLCL model. So that's going to be the plan. Starting from July with Submittable, you'll be able to submit ballots, and then entering into August, the voting app will turn on, voting registration will turn on, and Dor is the product manager for all of this. He has a great presentation to explain the details on how registration is going to work. It's simple, easy, and very secure. It won't quite be like JorVote. It'll be a much better experience in that respect. And you'll be able to look at ballots on your cell phone and tap to vote. So it's pretty simple, pretty easy. And it's going to allow every single person in our ecosystem that has trust and faith in us and has been around for so long and fought for us to be able to actually have a voice and start participating. And for a lot of people who have been desperate for some funding to do things to help build up our ecosystem, to finally be able to get the funds that they need to be able to execute and do cool things. And there's quite a bit of money set aside specifically for them, for the community. Now, there's a lot more to do. I, for example, would like to have a two-stage ballot process where First, we use preference voting to do priorities so that we can winnow down the set of ballots submitted to match the funds available. Second, I'm really interested in innovation management, where when a person submits a ballot, it doesn't just go immediately to the community for consideration, but rather we work with partners, and we have had some discussions, and we'll present those results in a bit, to help people transform their ballots so that they're better formed and they have a higher probability of success and a good outcome.
So that's another thing that I'm really, really excited about. A lot of these announcements kind of go hand in hand with excitement for me. So I'm going to break down kind of what he just said. So let's start off with him talking about the ITN. And so initially for Voltaire, their idea was to go in the same way they did Byron, to use a federated model and then move over to a decentralized model. And what he means by federated is centralized. So if you guys think of the way Cardano was, the way it is now, the way it was for the past couple of years, it's a centralized federated model. And we call that Byron. And that's the way they were going to do Voltaire. They started off, people can vote, and it's going to start off in a federated model. And then once all the kinks are worked out, it's going to move to a decentralized model. And what he was saying there is the ITN may be that decentralized model as a layer on top of Cardano that is actually used to vote. And that's pretty awesome. And it's also just the idea around it's awesome too, and the fact that it's happening so soon. He said that this month in July, people like me or people like anyone that needs funding for anything like content creation, for development, I think development you'd stick to the Cfund right now, but mainly for people that are trying to bring value to the community in any way, can actually submit a ballot, a proposal this month for their idea. And I also like the idea of him saying that he's going to have a group of people actually work with these people to build these ballots to promote them. Because I mean, if you have someone like me who has a good idea, right, but I've never wrote a formal ballot, I don't know really the way to catch people's eyes with words. You know, I'm not a writer by any means, so there's going to be a second group of people that will work with people like me or people like you, if you have a good idea, to actually make these ballots. And then following that, people are going to be able to vote on it using a cell phone app. I mean, what else do I have to say? I mean, that's pretty awesome. I'm really excited about this news. So what do you guys think? Should we take a look at the cell phone app?
Proposals receiving the most votes will be funded in order until the funds run out of money. Now you can see here the dashboard view. You can see at the top the name of the voting round, Fund 0, and the purpose of the voting round, support innovative projects. Voting power indicates how much influence you have over the voting outcome. The number 10,000 is my current voting power. For Fund 0, we just use testnet accounts holding test data. For Fund 2, the way voting power will be calculated will be different, and we will announce the specifics ahead of time. My rewards shows how much rewards I am eligible for. Currently, there are two main ways to earn rewards. The first, by registering to vote, you will receive voting rewards. And the second, if your proposal receives funding, you will receive a proposer reward. You can also see a list of mock proposals. Let's explore some of them. In the proposal detail page, you can review the proposal. This will include a link to a discussion forum and a link to a PDF specifying the proposal in more detail. Let's vote yes on this proposal. In order to submit the proposal to the blockchain, I will need to go to the My Vote section. But before that, let's vote on more proposals.
point that there's actually going to be a new small business, a new type of actor in our system, the expert class. You see, we often get asked, well, how do I have a voice if I don't have a lot of ADA? How do I have a voice if I have a lot of skills and knowledge, but I'm not necessarily a big actor? Well, if you look analogously to Bitcoin, there are people like Andreas Antonopoulos who don't actually hold a lot of Bitcoin, but are domain experts in that field. And so our hope is that we can build our own Andreases in the Cardano ecosystem, people who have a lot of knowledge, skill sets, wisdom, capabilities, and they can be involved in that innovation management, and they can help curate things. And the beautiful thing is, with a voting system, not only can you vote to fund a project, you can vote to fund people to work directly for the Cardano ecosystem. So for example, there's the podcast, The Cardano Effect. We're hoping to work with them so that they can transition from getting funding from the Cardano Foundation to run their podcast to actually get it straight from the Cardano blockchain. So they can be as objective as possible and represent the Cardano ecosystem as well as possible. Similarly, there's dozens of other actors, from the ambassadors in the space to people who could work as experts to help filter out ballots and help people get to where they need to go so that they can have good projects to evolve and grow, who can actually have a day job doing nothing but working for Cardano. As early as August, that conversation starts, and each and every one of you is going to have the capability to propose, and if you want to be a full-time part of this ecosystem and make this your livelihood, you can do that. That's a pretty amazing thing. It reminds me of when eBay came out and people could actually make money being power sellers. The platform created hundreds of thousands of new jobs, different jobs, and jobs we'd ever seen before. All great platforms do this, and Cardano needs to be no different. So in addition to Goguen being imminent and native assets rolling out and the Plutus Foundation rolling out, Voltaire is also imminent. We're launching that at the same time as Shelley. And just like how we launched Shelley with the ITN, we're launching the VIT, the Voltaire Incentivized Testnet, and basically giving people the opportunity to participate in voting, giving people opportunity to get funding that they need, and allow us to evolve and grow the voting mechanics very rapidly in a safe sandbox and get funding where it needs to go. In addition to this, there's some great presentations that the foundation is bringing on at the summit, which will cover the Cardano improvement proposal process. So it's not good enough just to fund things. We also have to have a meaningful discussion about where Cardano is going to go as a blockchain. So that's generally done in the blockchain industry with what's called an improvement proposal. Bitcoin has the BIPs, the Bitcoin improvement proposals. Ethereum has the IPs, the Ethereum improvement proposals. And similarly, we have the SIPs, the Cardano improvement proposals. So it's not good enough just to have a structured process where people can write them. You need to have a voting system where eventually the community can reach consent over which ones to adopt and where to go, especially as protocols become more complex and we have to accept trade-offs to meet the needs of the future. And as a consequence, we have been working hand in glove with the Cardano Foundation, as has Emergo, and they've gotten to a point where they've created the first Cardano improvement proposal, a Cardano improvement proposal specifically for the entire improvement proposal system. And Frederick is going to deliver a great presentation on the lessons learned and where that's at. And over time, dozens of improvement proposals from the community and from IO Global and from other actors like Emergo and some of the other core developers will come and start formalizing these ideas. And then just the same way that you're going to vote on treasury ballots, the community eventually will converge and vote on improvement proposals, which means that we can have much more meaningful civil debates and have much better processes to have debates and conversations about how are we going to evolve the system as a whole. This will allow us to achieve decentralization. And you'll notice that there's a thread that runs through our entire effort. And in particular, that thread is that everything we do is interconnected. You know, this decentralized brain idea that I mentioned in the beginning of the presentation, that also allows all those protocols and ideas to be codified as a CIP. And the fact that we now have Voltaire imminently on the way starting July, August, you'll see all these amazing things come out. That very process will allow us to not only discuss these things, but potentially fund them. See, science comes in raw, not completely well-decided, well-built forms. And sometimes you need some additional funding and discussion to get protocols where they need to go.
So that was about 5 minutes and 30 seconds. And first off, the reason I am showing the direct clip from him is in case people didn't catch this. They didn't catch the summit. And they're just small little clips from that. And I think it's really important to hear it from him himself because he's so eloquent in the way that he explains this stuff. And that's what, firstly, I want to hear what your guys' opinion is on all this stuff. You know, I give you guys my opinion, but I want some feedback from you guys. What do you guys think of this? What do you think of the expert class? Obviously, I'm sure you guys are excited with Voltaire coming out, the incentivized testnet coming out as Shelley's released. I'm really excited about that. I cannot wait to make videos for you guys on how to participate in the incentivized testnet, make videos on what's happening, and really just be a part of this whole process the same way that we were with the incentivized testnet for Shelley, and then the same way we were with the friends and family testnet and the Shelley testnet that's actually going on right now. I'm so excited about this, and also the expert class that he mentioned, that people will actually be able to be paid from the blockchain itself, not from any centralized party, to just add value to the community and also the blockchain because of the value that's added to the community, and we'll have a greater reach to everyone in the crypto space and maybe everyone in the world, because you actually are paying actors that aren't just developers. There can be people like Andre Antonopoulos, like he said, that can go around and spread the message of Cardano, and also curate these proposals, like he said. I'm really, really happy about all this. But the Voltaire incentivized testnet was probably my favorite announcement from this whole summit. Just I'm so happy that as Shelley's coming out, I thought there was going to be like a little break period for me, because like the past month or two, my YouTube channel has been a lot of grinding, a lot of content. There's a lot of stuff that I have to talk about and a lot of stuff that I have to release, and I really thought that I was going to get a break for a little bit. But then them announcing the incentivized testnet for Voltaire, there will be no break. I will make my stake pool or stake pools, and right as I'm doing that, right as my stake pool comes out and you guys all delegate to my pool or anyone else's pool, and Cardano finally becomes centralized, we're going to be testing out Voltaire. I'm really, really happy about this. There is one last thing I wanted to show you guys, so let's jump into that.
You can't stake with it, these types of things. But the tokens that are coming in the second and the third generation do have these capabilities, which means that we as an organization have had to fundamentally rethink the way that explorers work, and fundamentally rethink the way that exchange integration works and enterprise integration works across the spectrum. So we launched two projects. One was Project Atala, and that was to kind of reimagine how the exchange experience is going to work. And we also launched Adrestia to have a much more unified way of working with enterprises, whether they be institutional players, wallet makers, or exchanges, and try to sort out the features that they need and have the safety and security that they need. And we work with a lot of great partners along the way, and providers along the way, from Ledger to Binance to Bittrex. But one company really has been just such an incredible joy to work with, and we've been actually working with them on these topics of how do we build a good listing framework, how do we integrate well with enterprise software, and that company is Coinbase. Since 2019, we've had a tremendous opportunity to spend time with their engineers, and they've been so incredibly patient and graceful in working with our team, and it has really sculpted the way we think about integration. And in particular, the Rosetta integration framework is just a phenomenal piece of technology. So in the process of that relationship, we would love to announce that Coinbase is going to become the custodian of IO Global's ADA. And our hope is that Coinbase can be the custodian of preference for many institutional holders of ADA and other people who have large amounts, because we have a strong belief in the safety, security, and competency of that organization. I've been in the space long enough to see things like Mt. Gox, and I've been in the space long enough to see every single year numerous exchange problems occur. And it's refreshing to see that there is an organization that deeply cares about security, deeply cares about quality experiences, and really does give people the time of day to work with them. And what's so exciting about this relationship is that it is our belief that as the use and utility of Cardano increases, they're a phenomenal organization to work with to kind of imagine how we need to evolve our software and evolve capabilities, especially as we enter into the staking market and we have other things like voting on chain and so forth. You're going to have a fundamentally different way of doing things. And the lessons that we learn here can be standardized and propagated liquidity providers for ADA in the industry. So we're really excited to work with Coinbase and continue to work with them and to have them as the custodian of our ADA. And we really hope that others make that decision as well. And we're really excited to hear from the CEO of Coinbase UK later today.
So that clip that we just watched, it was Charles announcing that Coinbase will be the custodian of ADA. And they're going to be paying them a pretty hefty fee for that. My initial thoughts were, well, why can't IOHK just handle their keys? You know, I mean, they have so many smart people there, but thinking about it more and a little more deeply, there's probably some legal reasons attached to it. And this is also probably just a way to get a listing. I think IOHK, having all of their ADA there makes it a lot easier for Coinbase to list us later this year, because we all know that the only reason that we haven't been listed this far is just because we haven't been decentralized. That's kind of what the jig has always been. So yeah, I mean, I think this is pretty cool. Obviously, Coinbase is a nice, easy way for people to invest in ADA for the first time. I'm sure a lot of you first bought Bitcoin for the first time on Coinbase. So when ADA is listed, it is definitely going to be good for ADA, and not just in terms of price. But as far as if I think you guys should host your ADA there, I don't think so. I think they're charging a pretty hefty fee, especially to IOHK, because of the big bag that they have there. But yeah, I just think that means that maybe Coinbase listing by the end of the year, or maybe Q1 next year. It's just, they're only the custodian. They're not announcing a listing, but I think this is kind of the introduction, the first actual announcement of the introduction with them working together, because I know they had a non-disclosure agreement. So I think in a way this was Charles saying, like winking at us and saying, hey man, this is all they'll let me say right now, but Coinbase listing coming soon. But yeah, like I said, like I normally say, just let me know what you guys think down below.
Assets that are significantly easier to issue, cheaper to operate, and eventually have a path to native fees and custom addresses and other things that allow people to build better brand identity and allow people to have a much more rich token experience, not just on the utility token side, but also dealing with permissioned ownership. So things like security tokens, loyalty tokens, all kinds of things. Also, we are launching a beautiful product at the summit, and there's some wonderful presentations about this called Prism. Prism is our identity management system. We realized early on it wasn't good enough just to talk about value, assets. People use assets. Assets are connected to transactions with rich metadata. And if you're going to be operating in regulated environments, if you're going to be conducting commercial activity, if you're going to use a blockchain for a real platform with use and utility for all kinds of applications, whether it be medical records or supply chain, the heart of almost all these systems is the ability to identify people and understand if those counterparties are credible actors to work with. So how do you do that in a decentralized system? And that's really what Prism is exploring. And across blockchain capacity, using industry standards like DIDS, for example, that came out of the W3C, the same body that standardizes CSS and HTML, we worked diligently to build up a beautiful framework that's going to fit hand in glove on top of Cardano. And it's going to allow us to open up all kinds of new possibilities with not only how Cardano works, but how people work with Cardano. So for example, currently if you have an exchange, and let's say you want to withdraw some funds, Prism will eventually enable the concept of authenticated addresses. So what you can do is register your credentials and then only withdraw funds to an address that has been signed by those credentials. This adds a second layer of security to your exchange experience, and then from the exchange's perspective, allows them to satisfy new regulations like the FATF's travel rule. And that's just one of hundreds of use cases that one can dream up with varying levels of privacy. And eventually we can enhance the system with state-of-the-art cryptography like zero-knowledge systems. We, for example, recently created our own snark called Sonics, and we've been a big innovator as a company in that field. And what we can do is blend our identity stack with all kinds of new tech that increases your privacy, but also allows you to accomplish many business goals, like are you over a certain age, or are you a member of a certain group, without revealing any more personally identifiable information. And because it is the DID standard, we're big believers in self-sovereign identity. And we're big believers that you should be in charge of your own data. You should be in charge of your own identity, not a government, not a corporation. You should be able to take that with you to the places that you do business and have a lot of control over that.
I did also want to show you guys a little clip of this Atala Prism stuff in the works. I do think this stuff is really cool. I think it's a good way to get a lot of institutions into the blockchain, and also a way to bring all of the users within these institutions into the blockchain. And then also I like the stuff that he said at the end. I think that's really important. But it's actually pretty cool. You just, as he's showing here, it's going to be a mobile app, and you essentially just make a seed phrase and then do everything that you normally do with your secret keys. And then to like actually connect to an organization, you scan a barcode. And they do a little demo of this. Let me try to skip to that part. So look, he's scanning the barcode right here. The person they used is an Asian woman. It's pretty cool. You'll see her credentials pop up. So look, Metropole City Government, and this is just kind of an overview of this. But look, you can see right here, brought up her ID. Just from scanning that barcode. So it's just actual identity on the blockchain. It's pretty cool. You should be able to see it once they actually pull this up. Yep, so that's what it looks like right there. I think this stuff is pretty awesome. Like I said, it's a good way to bring people into the Cardano ecosystem. Well, that's the end of my weekly recap video, Cardano Summit 2020 Shelley Edition. I would love to hear what you guys have to say about it down below. If you guys made it to the end, please comment, vote yes for Big Pay. But I'm probably going to take a minute to explain my opinion on the summit and if I liked it. I honestly think it was awesome. I had a really good time live streaming with you guys and getting a little community going on this channel. I think IOHK really put on a lot of awesome content for us. I had a lot of people saying some of it was dry, but I mean that's what you get when it's a lot of the stuff was very technical, and I would rather have that than someone just coming on and kind of crossing, like going over around corners and not actually explaining what's going on, because I think our audience here is very technical, so obviously some of it's going to be dry, you know. But all in all, it's crazy all the content they put out in that short amount of time. We're going to see it all coming out on IOHK's YouTube channel. But yeah, my opinion of the summit, it was awesome. We might have to do another online one with how COVID is going so far, or at least how the media portrays COVID. But hopefully next time I can be in person at this summit, making content on it, giving my opinion in person, and meeting some of you guys there too. But if the next one is online, I'll be doing the same thing on my channel. I'll still be doing another video like this. But I also want to take another moment to thank you guys. I don't have a big audience on YouTube, but it feels big, and it feels big because of how interactive you guys are and how much support you show me. And I just want to say that I really enjoy doing this. I have a lot of fun. I've met a lot of great people. I've made a lot of great friends in the Cardano ecosystem. And in a way, I feel like we're part of history here, even if Cardano doesn't become it, if it's a part of it. I feel like we're a part of history with all the papers they're writing and us pushing this out. It's a little sappy, but I really do appreciate your support. I couldn't be doing this stuff without you guys, and I just want to say I have a lot of fun doing it, you know. But yeah, I mean, that's really it. that's my summit recap video. I tried to spend a little bit more time on the editing, try to make this one a little better. The production of the production value of my channel is going to be going up. I am going to be giving this more time, but also I did want to say that I am going to be releasing better edited and more quality videos, but for the next month, they're not going to come out as frequently. I'm going to be doing my weekly recap videos. I'm going to have another paycast coming out next week, but I do really need to take some time and focus on my pools. You guys are going to be hearing more about that later. But this is the month of Shelley, so I have to make sure that I'm 100% capable. I am, but I gotta really just fine-tune everything, you know what I mean, for the next month. So yeah, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, just make sure you leave a like and comment down below. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day. There's a lot of exciting things coming, and I hope you guys are excited as I am. Thank you. Goodbye.